Hi there and welcome to my channel. If you're here for the first time, my name is Matthias and I'm an underwater cameraman and filmmaker based here in Zurich, Switzerland. Here on my channel I'll show you content related to traveling and scuba diving, as well as share some tips and tricks with you about filmmaking and how you can get the best out of the footage that you captured during your trips. So if that's something that you're interested in, please consider subscribing to my channel. And now let's get into today's topic, which is gimbals and how to use them to achieve cinematic looking footage. Coming up. Now gimbals like this Osmo Mobile 2 from DJI are a very hot topic at the moment, and everyone is talking about how you can use gimbals to achieve very cinematic looking footage. Now in today's video I want to show you my 5 most favorite cinematic moves using the DJI OSMO Mobile 2. The techniques that I'll explain to you in this video and the footage that I'll show you have all been taken on my iPhone 5 with the DJI OSMO Mobile 2, but they work with most other gimbals as well. If you want to know what I like in particular about the DJI OSMO Mobile 2 and if, in my opinion, there is any drawbacks to this particular gimbal, please feel free to check out the review video I made a couple weeks ago. I'll cover all the pros and cons of the DJI OSMO Mobile 2 in there. Now let's get to the different movements that in my opinion make a shot on the gimbal look very cinematic. The techniques that I'm about to explain to you guys are based on my personal experience and my opinion on what works best as a shot with a gimbal to achieve that really cinematic look that you're striving for. Technique number 1 is the circle around a specific object. So if you have a statue, a small building, a person, whatever it is, you can use that person in the center of your frame and using the gimbal circle around that person. It gives a very cinematic look in my opinion and shows a lot of the surrounding scene to the audience at the same time. Now this technique you can either shoot a other person, another object that you're circling, or you can also do kind of a selfie style where you're pointing the camera towards you and circle it around yourself to give an impression of the location that you're in at that specific moment. The second technique that I like using a lot is the forwards or the backwards tilt. Now with this technique, in the backwards motion for example, you're placing your camera on an object and as you're moving backwards you're tilting your camera either up or down to reveal whatever you want to show to the audience. The forwards motion on the other hand obviously shows the big picture first, and then you're going into the detail as you're moving in and up or down with your camera. The third technique is a very basic one, but I found it very powerful in terms of cinematic value. It is the very simple forwards or backwards motion with your camera. And with a gimbal you have that option of moving very fluidly in a forwards or backward motion. Now important with these kinds of shots is that you're paying attention to the symmetry of your image. So you want to make sure that you're moving forwards, for example in an alleyway, between buildings, maybe having some trees on either side. You really want to make sure that you're paying attention to the symmetry in your picture, because that's what's really going to make it very, very cinematic. Technique number 4 is another simple but very effective one. It is the follow. Following a person using a camera on a gimbal looks very cinematic in my opinion, and there is different ways you can do this. You can follow a person from behind, you can follow a person by walking backwards and having the person coming towards you, or you can also follow a person sideways. So you can play with these different options that you've got there and integrate them into your travel films. Be careful though when you do the backwards walking that you are sure to know where you're walking. Ideally you'd have someone leading you or walking in front of you, making sure that you're not bumping into anyone or anything, or not falling down any cliffs or wherever you're filming. And the technique number 5 I want to explain to you is the sideways or the up or down reveal. Now this is a very powerful shot as an opener shot, where you have your main subject that you want to present in the background, and that should obviously be in focus, and you lock your focus there, and then you do a panning shot where you have your obstruction, whatever that is, be it a tree, another building, whatever, in the foreground, and you slowly panning, revealing whatever your main subject is in the background. Now obviously this shot also works with an up-down motion, so you can also reveal your main subject by moving upwards or downwards, whichever way fits the scene in your opinion. So those were my 5 most favorite techniques using a gimbal to achieve cinematic looking footage. There's one thing though that we should not forget, and that's the option of using different time-lapse modes on the mobile gimbals, in particular on the Osmo Mobile 2, where you have options doing time lapses, regular time lapses, doing motion lapses, or even hyper lapses. These can be very cinematic, done in a proper way, and can add a lot of value to your travel films as well. And that was it guys for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you got something out of it. If that's the case, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more travel and filmmaking related content in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.